Happy Labor Day, sexy people. So this is just a gentle reminder that as we celebrate the many contributions that workers have made to America's strength, prosperity, and well-being overall, all of the essential workers, all of the union workers, all of the laborers, let's not forget our creative workers, right? And in my case, I like to think of myself as a culture worker. A culture worker is a creative who essentially says that their labor, or at least a particular fraction of it, occurs with the intention to uphold a certain culture. It proposes that your labor as an artist, as a creative, as a musician is accountable for the idea of culture. Right now, our future, our kids, our culture really needs our laborers who understand how important it is to preserve our legacies in our communities. From you is understanding. How can we communicate if you don't hear what I say? What I need from you is understanding. See, they only want me to sing, y'all. So simple as 1, 2, 3. Understanding is what I need. I go, you don't even know me. You just want to do what you want to do. What else? I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know all the lyrics. I do not. And they don't probably know all the lyrics if you love me either. But yeah. So what's really crazy is coming back from a wonderful Labor Day workout. And, you know, me and my husband, we old school people. We just real old school people, right? We believe in old school shit, right? And I was listening to, y'all know that song, Walk On By, dum, 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 walk on by. I think Dionne Warwick did it as well, right? Remember y'all know that record? Show me some hearts if y'all know that record, because if y'all know that record, what I'm saying ain't gonna make no sense. I know y'all ain't that young. If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry each time with me, walk on by. Y'all know that record? Walk on. Where the hearts? Y'all don't know that record? Okay, somebody finally said, yeah, I know the record. Now, I know I'm half-ass singing it and everything, but it's a record, and I believe Dionne Warwick did it, and I don't know who the first people were that did it. But it's a really awesome, beautiful record, right? And basically, it's a love story, right? You know, and I don't know if it's a story about a broken heart or, you know. Yes, okay, y'all remember the record. Walk on by. So I'm sitting here and I hear the Walk On By in the background. And then over the top of it, I hear, ooh, she a devil, or some crazy shit like that. She a devil. And I'm like, hold up. Not from walk on by to ooh, she a devil. Like, I'm like, what the hell is going on? See? So, like, listen, baby, listen. I told you, me and my husband, we old people, we grown people. But I just don't understand how it's possible, right, to have such a beautiful song, right? And have, you know, such gruesome lyrics, right? Such an agenda in this music. Such an agenda with this television stuff. Like, I mean, like, stripper culture and hood culture is the order of the day for a lot of distributors. And I just had to come on here on this Labor Day and remind y'all, I just came back from a vigorous workout because I got a really big court day tomorrow, which I'm actually very, very excited about, because it gives me the opportunity to finally speak under oath. So I'm excited about that, because the truth is the truth is the truth. But I, you know, was just in the car listening and thinking to myself, wow, we've really reached a whole new low in the entertainment industry when we take a beautiful record like Walk On By. Come on, y'all, sing with me. walk on by. Foolish pride, that's all that I have left. So she devil, and it doesn't make she a devil. Let me hide. It's crazy as hell. It's crazy. What we doing? What we doing? Listen, y'all. Music and art. I was having this conversation, right? And I know it's Labor Day, so I'm a labor for some of y'all to understand where I'm coming from, right? I consider myself, like I said in my previous post, I am a cultural worker, right? Or a creative worker. And my role as a laborer is to try to use my platform, or to use my platform to preserve legacy, preserve culture, right? Because this shit that's going on right now is garbage and trash. And what's more garbage and trash is the fact that they will allow garbage and trash to reach the people far more quickly than they will the things that empower us and inspire us and allow us to leave legacy and generational wealth and wellness to our communities, right? They believe that all we deserve is trash. Because trash and garbage, and I said it with my chest, is all that we have in the mainstream right now that is promoted at a level that reaches people. There's so much dope art out here. There's so many amazing singers and songwriters and actors and writers and performers who have some incredible stories to share. Laborers on this here Labor Day, while many of us have picket signs, either literally or figuratively, right? All the same. We are using our platforms to remind people that a world where music and creatives can't tell authentic stories about their communities, right? Without it being diluted or infested, right? With a culturally incompetent lens, right? Because that lens ain't always white male. I used to say white male. I used to say a culturally incompetent white male lens. But now I'm changing that. I'm just saying a culturally incompetent lens, because people who are culturally incompetent come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. In fact, we got a lot of culturally incompetent people in our own community who are out here peddling trauma, right? It's this traumatainment shit that has our community in a really poor state of emergency. That's what we at. We in a poor, you know how like you have a loved one and they say based on what's going on right now, the prognosis is poor. The prognosis in the entertainment industry right now is beyond poor. It is a state of emergency. And if something doesn't happen to change this narrative that tells the whole entire world that we are hood rats and strippers and drug dealers and beat up our women and what else? All the horrible, you know, our booty holes are brown and like all of the other stuff, you know, allowing things like colorism to live forever on television, right? I mean, let's talk about that for a minute. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for one quick second. So I've been making comments under certain blogs, and a lot of times you guys see me making comments under blogs because, as you can see here, based on the 5 people in this room, you know, I'm probably labeled somewhat a cultural worker / you know, positive information giver, and they don't want y'all to have that. They want y'all to have the bullshit. They want y'all to have the stuff that's just gonna take us further and further down this deep, dark rabbit hole of injustice, inequality, death, damnation, and horrible shit in the black community. So I've been commenting on other posts because sometimes that is the only way that my advocacy can really reach the people. So I appreciate you guys for chiming in when I do. Because, you know, like I said, my page is on whatever list that they put together to stop folks from getting good information, because all I give is good information. Like, it's never anything on this page to hurt my people. It's never anything on this page to make my people look crazy. You know what I'm saying? Although sometimes I do know that I look a little crazy, because I need them to understand that we all got a little bit of something in us that will at some point say enough is enough and speak truth to power in a way that may appear that way when we are in fact very strategic and sane. But I digress. Back to this Love and Hip Hop situation. So I did a poll on Twitter, or X, or whatever you call the thing right now. And basically what the poll was asking is, on reality TV, what are the most damaging narratives, right? Because we know we have a ton of damaging narratives out there. And right now, the order of the day is to talk about colorism. And I think colorism is awful. I think colorism is terrible. I think colorism is something that should be eliminated along with racism, body shaming. I think it should violence, sexism. Like it's, what is it? What do they call people who are bigots, what all of the horrible shit, right? But what I want people to really come to grips with is the fact that if you believe that it is okay, right, to allow those damaging narratives to exist in perpetuity. Perpetuity means it ain't never going nowhere. It's always going to be right there for people to find, for people to see, for people to talk about. And the more that it goes viral, this is what happens. The show gets ratings. The owners get a ton of money. The the talent who was, removed, is going to live in infamy for being a person who, is a colorist or said something that was colorist-like, even though, she was very angry about what happened. I believe that when you start talking about all these isms, right? When you're talking about colorism, which is not cool. When you're talking about racism, which is not cool. When you talk about body shaming, which is not cool. When you talk about violence against women, which is not cool. When you talk about sexism or exploit women's bodies, it's not cool. When you have babies in openings of TV shows about sex workers, it's not cool. And when you talk about people's children, it's not cool. So when we really evaluate the reason why something is not okay, and the reason why something should have such a handled response, is, as I believe the creator of the show said, it's because it really hurts somebody deeply. I think that's what we're forgetting. Colorism is no different than fat shaming. Colorism is no different than calling some talking horrible about somebody's child. You don't know what triggers people have. And I don't believe that one sin is any greater than the other. Not because it's what I choose to believe. It is what the Bible tells me to believe. That no one sin is greater than another. Now, I'm lying. I do believe that there are some sins that you can commit that are far greater than others. Like, for example, you tell a lie, you kill somebody. Those are two different things, But when it comes to all of these isms and all of this, I'm standing on my morals. Stand on your motherfucking morals the whole time. Nothing irritates me more, and I'm not suggesting that this is what any particular person did. I'm speaking in general terms because I know a whole lot of people like this, right? All of a sudden, suddenly, it's the end thing to be an advocate for shit, right? All of a sudden, everybody advocating for something, and it's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a beautiful, wonderful thing when people, when people use their platforms to advocate for something bigger and greater than themselves. But what irritates the entire hell out of me is people who choose to advocate selective. You could choose I need y'all to pray. Please pray for your sister, because tomorrow's a big day for me. Plug on my phone. So let me get to this point. Nothing irritates me more than a person who uses advocacy, as difficult as it is to advocate for things, because they just tie our hands behind our back, as an opportunity to promote something, to make money off of. Like, I've never charged one time to advocate for my community. I'm always doing this because I am a cultural laborer, and I do this from the kindness of my heart. Now, when I'm writing a project or doing a TV series or whatever, and it speaks to women in prison or it speaks to mental health and all that other stuff, that's also cultural advocacy, but that's how I pay my bills. But when it comes to like really standing up for these issues that are negatively impacting our community, I cannot stand when somebody does it and they attach a dollar to it. Like, here, I'm going to speak up for sexism, and the next thing you know, they got a movie about, sex trafficking, coming up, that they're just starring in and reading the script from, as opposed to something that they've actually put the work, boots on the ground. Definitely speak up for those disenfranchised groups, but stop leaning on and leveraging real advocacy, grassroots advocacy, to prove a point and to draw ratings. Because if you really care about what's going on in our community, then you'll just cancel that shit altogether. Because you understand, and listen, I know, okay, I said it, because a lot of people have been thinking it, and I'm just gonna say it. There is not a whole lot of positive stuff outside of certain people who have used this as an opportunity to really build their brands and businesses. But in the grand scheme of things, the overall culture, there's not a whole lot of positive stuff that has come from that series. Just like with a lot of shit on reality TV, I've said it over and over and over again. Now, docu-follows that allow people to share their real stories, and networks like TV One, networks like BET Her, certain places that allow you to tell those stories authentically and organically and really care about our community and those depictions, that's a different situation. Obviously, certain groups and certain networks and stuff are omitted from that. But what drives me nuts is when culturally incompetent people define a narrative for an entire culture and they're not even a part of that culture, right? When I go and I research and I Google and I look into all the producers that are on P-Valley, let's just say, right? When I Google all the producers that get producer credit on Pussy Valley, it's like majority of the major ones that make the decisions are non-black. They white women and white men, right? And I would venture to guess, this is just a guesstimation, I would venture to guess that the black people who do have a say and are listed as executive producers can't make no decisions without the approval of the white people. I'm venturing to guess. And that's all well and good if that is what you wanted and that is what you asked for. But I personally believe that it's important, if you create an intellectual property as a creator from that community and you want that property to speak a certain language to a certain people, I think it's important that the powers that be include people that look like us. I think it's important that the people who make those decisions include people that look like us. Because what happens is our entire narrative, right? Our entire story is put in the hands of people who have never lived that experience, right? So as you guys push and advocate for certain things, and you see this picture of this image of somebody that they prop up and they say, hey, this is the creator, this is the end all be all, this is the only person that matters in this situation and makes all the decisions for this show or that show or the other show, think about the reality of it while you're living in the land of the vapors. Most of the time, creators who have their names on shows as the people who are showrunners and in control, this is just a general statement. I don't know if this applies to Katori Hall. I have no idea. But in most cases, what I found when I did R&B Divas, and the reason I know that is because when I did R&B Divas, I realized I didn't have any power because I didn't own it. So everything I did after that, there was always the mission and the goal to have some ownership, to have some say, to be able to say on the final cut, the final edit, this is the story. And the only way that you can get to that, the only way that you can achieve it is to have ownership. The only way that you don't have a song on the radio that's walk on by, she devil, like, I mean, that just doesn't even make any sense. Like, who, and I'm not attacking whoever this artist is, because I don't even know who the artist is, because I don't listen to none of this shit, because it's a whole bunch of tones and I don't receive them. But the point is just, if you own your music, if you own the content you create, if you own your sugar honey iced tea, then you have a real opinion on how it's exploited and how it's leveraged and how it's used. And if we are given the opportunity to pass this legacy, like I believe it's Sam Cooke, or is it Sam Cooke? Who is Otis Redding? One of them. I'm sorry, I'm getting the names wrong. I remember. But owns their masters, owns their shit, and their family, their kids have been able to go to school. They've been able to get money to fund their businesses. Like, allegedly, I don't know these people in person, but that's word on the street. And that's the reason why every opportunity, while we're talking about Labor Day, we're talking about laborers, we're talking about all the work that goes into, you know, creating these multi-billion-dollar brands. You guys, you gotta own it. Own it means to have some say in how it is exploited, to have some say in how it is presented to our community. Our culture is dictated by people who don't even look like us, y'all. Our culture is determined by people who don't even live in our neighborhoods, right? Our culture, what's hot, is determined by how much money a person has to pay to put an image out there. Think about it. Like, I'm not attacking these young creatives who are out here, you know, being a part of this stripper culture and out here, you know, on stage in bathing suits every 5 minutes and stuff. I'm not. Their bodies are bad. They look great. I think Lotto's fine as she could be. But I keep seeing the same narrative over and over and over and over again, and it's not original. And it's something that is being recycled to the detriment of our community. It's something that is negatively impacting our kids. We have great entertainers out here still today that have been influenced by the legends of the past, but those entertainers are so busy fighting to keep food on the table, put their kids through college, and there is a gross misrepresentation of all of these celebrities living this fabulous life and being all paid and rich and having servants and shit. That's a story that they want y'all to believe. That's like that's Santa Claus. That shit is Santa Claus as Santa Claus can be. It is not how life is for most creatives. And you're seeing that because people are in the streets trying to fight to save their home. Shit, we trying to fight to save our shit. Because we are laborers who put work into making creative and manufacturing and producing creative content. Alright, they keep pausing me up, y'all. Let me say it real quick. The reason why the entertainment industry stays young is that when people become older and wiser and smarter and have lived a little, they know that the entertainment industry is built on slave contracts. And they know that it requires a lot of people to sell their souls in order to be successful. And those of us who do not are always the ones that are struggling to get out the message and warn those who either have or will. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Some of us understand that it's more important for us to speak the truth than to die with it in us. Period. I'm one of them people. Trust me, I ain't got shit to gain by lying to y'all. Even though the owner of the algorithms don't want y'all to get this